Hello, and welcome to the Running StartNew Student Orientation for Fall of 2022. Thank you so much for your patience as we've gotten this off the ground and ready to go. It does take some time, and it's certainly been a busy end of the summer for us here. We'll share some information that you need to know as a new Running Start student prior to us beginning classes on September 21st. So as most of you know, my name is Chelsea Braun, and I'm the advisor for the Running Start program on the CWU Sammamish campus. I work only with Running Start students, so anybody that is taking classes, is enrolled in any classes with Running Start, will be working with me. And although they are not joining us today themselves, there are a couple of other staff members that I want to make sure that you're aware of. You may see them on campus, or if you are an online student, you may essentially receive emails from them at some point in time. We have a regional director who is in charge of our site. He is also in charge of the Linwood campus. His name is Mark DiVirgilio. Our office staff, Mirva Sibukov and John Streepy. They're in charge of the front desk, the front office. You've probably spoken with them if you have signed up for placement testing, or if you have contacted the main office at all. They're wonderful, wonderful people, and you'll probably get a chance to meet them or talk to them at some point. John Streepy is also our faculty for the History 144 class, so if you are enrolled in History 144 in person, you will be taking class with him. We also have our multimodal expert, Munib Mobashar, here on our campus. If you ever have any issues with Canvas or have some tech problems you need assistance with, he is an excellent resource. Please be aware that CWU will be following our fall COVID policies in a very similar fashion to the COVID policies that we followed last fall. COVID-19 vaccines are required for students. Students can request medical and religious exemptions, so there are certainly options for requesting exemptions. The information must be submitted by October 17th, so you have some time. And if you don't have the information available, or you aren't able to get it to work out by October 17th, you won't be removed from classes. Nothing will happen to your fall quarter classes, but there will be a hold placed on your account, so we won't be able to officially enroll you in winter quarter classes until that's taken care of. Students can view all of the requirements and information regarding COVID-19 vaccinations, how to provide documentation, how to request an exemption through the CWU Immunizations website, which is listed there. But please check your email for further details about how to submit your information. I will be sending that information out shortly, and making sure that you have access to what you need in order to provide your vaccination, proof of vaccination, or to request an exemption. So Running Start advising is kind of our most important aspect to discuss here. You can meet with a Running Start advisor, and on the CWU Sammamish campus, that's me. I work only with Running Start students, so if you haven't met with me yet, you'll need to make sure to meet with me in order to enroll in classes. But you're welcome to meet throughout the quarter, and I can support you with your classes, any academic planning for high school or college, any other kind of assistance that I can provide. I'm happy to support you with that. You are required to meet with a Running Start advisor every quarter before you register for classes. So even if you don't have anything that you'd like assistance with throughout the quarter, you'll need to make sure to be in contact with me and to meet with me before you enroll each quarter. You'll be emailed about when to schedule quarterly advising, so keep an eye on your email in late October, early November. That's when we'll start our winter quarter advising. But advising can be done remotely or in person, so you're always welcome to stop by my office. But if you prefer to be online, if you're a part-time student, if you're a completely online student, we can always do advising online. If you need assistance with anything, you can contact our office. The email for the main office is cwu_sammamish@cwu.edu, or you can email me directly at chelsea.braun@cwu.edu. Please remember that Running Start enrollment verification forms, and if you might see RSEVF, which is what that stands for, they must be turned in every quarter. That's the only piece of paperwork that I officially need each quarter, but it's important for billing purposes to make sure that the tuition costs for your classes are covered. So while the tuition cost for your classes is covered for the most part, depending on how many classes you're taking at your high school, there are a couple of fees that all students are required to pay each quarter. One is the multimodal fee. It's a $25 charge. It maintains your Canvas account. Canvas is the online learning platform. So if you are an online student or taking online classes, you will need to make sure that you have Canvas up and ready to go so that you can access all of your classes when you need them. But most in-person classes, the instructors will still use Canvas as a tool. Oftentimes it's a way to access your course materials. It might be a way for you to submit assignments, to see your grades. So it's a really important tool to make sure that we're able to keep up and running. The other fee is a $3 per credit technology fee that maintains your student email and your student account. This maxes out at 10 credits, so you would never be charged more than $30 per quarter, even if you're enrolled in more than 10 credits. If you're enrolled in less than 10 credits, it would be less than $30. You may also notice that you have some other fees that are associated with individual classes, oftentimes world languages, potentially if you're enrolled in a science class. Those materials are provided directly to you, so you don't have to order them, and then they're automatically charged to your account. You can view and pay your fees in your MyCWU account. When you log into your homepage, you go and visit your student center, and you'll be able to see your fees there. If you do an account inquiry, it'll give you a breakdown of what the fees are that you would potentially be paying. And you would be able to pay that online. There's also a phone number there for student accounts, so it might be possible to pay over the phone as well. Also want to make sure that students know that they are responsible for purchasing their own textbooks. You can do a search at thewildcatshop.net, or you can do a search there and then use another website if you can find a better deal for books. However, most classes have really moved towards using online textbooks, or they're called inclusive access textbooks. They're automatically added to your Canvas page into the bookshelf and then charged to your account. So again, you don't have to go and order anything or download anything. Inclusive access textbooks are usually less expensive than ordering a large traditional textbook. But please keep in mind that if you see a Wildcat Shop charge on your account, and if you are confused because you haven't actually made a Wildcat Shop charge or purchase, it is most likely for an online inclusive access textbook or one of the other sets of materials for a course. You can always contact the Wildcat Shop for more information about what exactly the charge is for. But don't be alarmed or surprised if you see that pop up. Usually it's related to your textbooks. So this is something really important that I want to make sure students are aware of, is how parents can have access to records. So as a student who is dual enrolled, meaning you're enrolled in high school and college at the same time, CWU and Running Start don't send home attendance updates. They don't send home grade reports throughout the quarter. CWU staff, including Running Start staff, have to follow the CWU records and FERPA, or Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act policies regarding your student records. So the faculty and staff are only able to release student information to the student and to the high school, because the student and the high school have all signed the Running Start enrollment verification form. So unless a student provides permission to release information to other authorized individuals, such as parents or guardians, then we can't share information out with parents. We would not, even if you do provide permission, we would not send grade reports or attendance records or updates home. This would just mean that if a parent had a specific question, then we would be able to respond and share that information with them. Running Start office provides quarterly grade reports and shares all relevant available information or concerns with high school counselors and staff. So if we're concerned about you for any reason, then I will contact your high school counselor. A high school counselor will contact your parents. So most parents will find out eventually. Signing a release of information generally just makes the communication process much smoother, but it is completely up to you as a student whether or not you choose to sign a release of information form. So a release of information form used to be a physical form that you would sign. I would scan and send it over to the Dean of Student Success on the main campus. Since we've been online, it's moved to being a completely paperless form. You would log into your MyCWU account, go to your Student tab, select Personal from the column on the left, click on Release of Information, and then read the instructions about how to fill it out, what kind of information you would need to include, and then add the designees, which would mean adding any parents or guardians that you would like to have access to information if they request it. You can also differentiate what kind of information is sent out. So if you'd like to have parents or guardians have information regarding billing, but not about academics, that's always a possibility. Please just make sure that you're being as thorough as possible so that when we go in to look and see if you've signed a release of information form, that the information is in there. So again, I'll show you this after our presentation, how to do a search thewildcatshop.net, but again, that's where you would go to look for textbooks. CWU does provide a book loan program to students who receive free or reduced lunch, family receives public assistance or are on unemployment, or if the student is in foster care. The Running Start office can loan some books and provide potentially some testing fees. We cannot loan inclusive access books, so those are the online textbooks. We can't loan out book rentals, so it's always possible to rent a textbook rather than purchase. And there are some other books that there are restrictions on. If you have questions about this or feel like you may qualify, please let me know as soon as possible. So another really important thing to keep in mind is that there is something called a change of schedule period, and this happens within the first 5 days of the quarter. So through the 5th day of the quarter, so the 5th business day, which would be Tuesday, September 27th, you can add, drop, or make changes to your schedule, and it doesn't affect your transcript, doesn't show up on your transcript at all. If you drop a class, it just disappears. If you switch out of a class, it doesn't indicate that you were enrolled in the original class. That's within the end of the business day on September 27th. After that, you can request what's called an uncontested withdrawal through the first 6 weeks of the quarter. This means you can withdraw from a class, and it could be an individual class. If you're enrolled in 3 classes and want to drop one, you can. I always recommend that you communicate with your high school counselor, making sure you're notifying me before you go through the withdrawal process, but it's uncontested. You don't have to provide any kind of documentation. After that 6th week, the only option for withdrawing is either a hardship withdrawal or a complete withdrawal from the university. Doing an uncontested withdrawal or a complete withdrawal means you're removed from your class or all of your classes. A complete withdrawal means you're technically removing yourself from the university. You would receive a W on your transcript for the classes you were withdrawing from. A W just indicates that you were enrolled in the class and then you withdrew. It doesn't affect your GPA. You don't get a 0. It doesn't, tank your GPA for further college transfer or anything like that. It just indicates that you were in the class for a significant period of time. A hardship petition means that if something serious happened during the quarter that prevented you from being successful in school, you can always provide documentation to a hardship withdrawal panel. If they award that, then you would be given a hardship withdrawal, which means it would show up on your transcript as an HW. You can do this for individual classes or for all of your classes. HW indicates that there was a hardship happening at the time, so that future colleges, your high school, anybody would see that on your transcript. You could potentially have some of your funds returned as well if you qualify for a hardship withdrawal. The deadline for a hardship withdrawal or a complete withdrawal from the university is the last day of instruction. For this fall quarter, that would be Friday, December 2nd. Academic standards are important to keep in mind. So Running Start has slightly stricter academic policies than the rest of the university. To remain in what's called good standing, your cumulative and quarterly GPA needs to be a 2.0 or higher. So essentially they're asking for about a C average. If your quarterly GPA drops below a 2.0, you will be placed on academic probation. This just means you'll meet with me, we'll have a discussion about how the quarter went, if there are any kind of extenuating circumstances, external factors that were causing issues. And then we would come up with a plan to help support you your education in the future. If you were previously on probation and your quarterly or cumulative GPA falls below a 2.0 again, you will be placed on academic suspension. Suspension essentially means you can't participate in the Running Start program. Suspension can be appealed, so you can always go through an appeals process. We know that the last couple of years have been particularly difficult for students being online for COVID, coming back into being in person last year. So if you feel like you would like an additional support, would like another shot at doing Running Start, there are always options there. If you have a 504 plan or an IEP or receive some kind of accommodations at your high school, please be aware that you should be able to receive the same or at least similar accommodations through Running Start. It doesn't transfer automatically from the high school to the college. You'd have to work with the Disability Services Office to request accommodations. But you can do that by going to cwu.edu/disability services. You'd set up an account with their department, have a meeting with one of their representatives. At the beginning of each quarter, the Disability Services would send an email to your professors and instructors, and then you as a student would communicate directly with your instructors about making sure that you had your accommodations met. It's a little bit different than at the high school. There aren't nearly as many people involved. As the advisor, I won't have any access to knowing what kind of accommodations you receive, or if you do receive accommodations, unless you choose to disclose that with me. But I can often help support with communicating with disability services. If you need support, feeling like you're not getting the support that you need, please just let me know. Since we are a small campus at CWU Sammamish, we do have limited access to in-person departments. We don't have a tutoring department on our campus, for example. But as a Running Start student, you are a university, Central Washington University student, so you have access to all of the materials that students on the main campus do through an online format. There is free tutoring available to all students through the cwu.edu/academic success, through the Academic Success Center on the main campus. So tutoring is available online in a variety of subjects, a very wide range of subjects, from 5 a.m. to 12 a.m. every day, so almost 24 hours a day. You can access the Writing and Math Center. You can access Math Center consultations, so you can get assistance with a very wide range of math, through calculus and any other kind of math that you're enrolled in. You can also get assistance with your writing. You are welcome to submit a paper if you'd like someone to look over it and give you feedback. Just please make sure that if you are accessing the Writing Center, that you make sure you give the tutors there at least 24 hours in advance to read through your paper. For busy times of year like midterms and finals, you might want to consider giving them a couple of days instead of just one. Academic coaching is also available. So if you feel like you would need assistance with coming up with a study schedule, assistance with making sure you're keeping on track, and kind of making sure you're staying organized, academic coaching is a really great resource for that. They're here to help make sure that you're successful in providing sometimes different kinds of resources than regular tutoring may be what you need. So on the main campus, the tutoring center is located in what's called the Learning Commons. So there's a math center, a writing center, both of which are available online as well. But there is the option of doing e-tutoring. So that includes online writing lab. You can do live Zoom sessions in up to 15 subjects, so a very wide range. And you can also ask quick e-questions. So if you'd like a really in-depth support for some assignment or work that you're doing, you can meet with your tutor over Zoom. Or if you just have a quick question you'd like answered, you can always send an e-question. There are certified peer mentors that partner with institutions throughout the Western United States, so you really have some very highly trained, highly qualified tutors. And again, they're available 5 to midnight, 7 days a week. So please keep in mind that there are several online tools that are super, super important to make sure that you know where they are and that they're up and running. If you do advising with me, you will have most likely gone through and set these things up. Your CWU student account is where you'll go to access all of your resources. You should have that set up. Most likely you've had it set up before you met with me or we set it up together. If you haven't been able to set it up, please do so soon and contact me if you're not able to. To log into your MyCWU account, you go to my.cwu.edu. This is where you'll go to access your grades, register for classes, pay fees, access all of your information. You will want to make sure to check that your address is up to date. And if you need to make changes, if you move or if you want to add a new phone number, this is where you'll go to do that. All of your personal information is kept there. Make sure that the number that you're included is the most likely for you to be reached at. Please make sure that your voicemail box is set up and that it is not full. You will also want to make sure that you're able to access your CWU student email. When you log into your MyCWU account, if you go to the applications box in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, click on CWU Outlook and sign in using your email login and password. Please make sure to check your CWU email regularly. This is the way that we communicate with you the most. If you don't check your email, you'll most likely miss information. Also, make sure that your Canvas page is up and running. You have the access to your Canvas page in that applications box. Just click on the link to Canvas. The first time that you access Canvas, it'll ask you to agree to an acceptable use policy, but every other time it should take you directly into your Canvas page. A couple of days before your classes start, your instructors will post and publish their classes and you will have access to them. If you ever have an error or having a hard time accessing your classes on Canvas, please let us know. We can always connect you with our multimodal expert on our campus. Important dates to keep in mind. So September 21st, which is next Wednesday, is when fall quarter classes will start. Your Running Start enrollment verification form needs to be turned in by the state to make sure that you aren't charged any tuition, at least not any tuition that you're not expecting. September 27th, which is that following Tuesday, is the change of schedule period, the end of the change of schedule period. So you can add, drop, or change classes until the end of the business day, so 5 o'clock on that day. All fees are due in this date as well. If you don't pay your fees by that date, you won't be kicked out of class. There won't be any issues with your enrollment or registration, but the fees will start accruing interest at that time. November 7th, which is that 6-week uncontested withdrawal deadline. You can withdraw from a class for any reason through that day. You don't need to provide any kind of documentation. December 2nd is the last day of classes. This means that it is the last day of instruction. It may be the last day that you would possibly be given something new that you would be discussing in class. Remember that you can request a hardship withdrawal or a complete withdrawal from all classes until this date. The following week, beginning on December 5th and ending on Friday, December 9th, is final exams week. The Monday of finals week is always called a study Monday. We often do an event on our campus. If you are around, we will often have snacks and students get together and study, work on final projects, assignments. We often have faculty members that will come in and do review sessions for students. Your final exams will be held sometime between December 6th and December 9th. Once you're done with your finals, you are done for the quarter, and we will be on winter break until we come back for winter quarter on January 4th. December 14th is that following Wednesday, when you can officially view all of your grades in MyCWU. I will send a grade report to your high school so that they can add your grades onto your high school transcript. And they will officially be posted on that Wednesday, December 14th. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me at any time. You can always email me or you can schedule a meeting by going on to the bookings link. If you need access to that, please email me and I will send it to you. I'm happy to discuss anything that you need throughout the quarter. If you're in person or taking classes in person, you can stop by my office at any time, especially after the quarter has started and my schedule isn't quite as busy. Then I'm oftentimes easily accessible throughout the day if you happen to think of a question or have something that you need assistance with while you're on campus. If you are an online student, please make sure that you are reaching out. If you need help communicating with instructors, the most important thing that you can keep in mind is that keeping in touch with your instructor is going to be important since you're not going to be in person. Thank you so much for joining me on our Running Start orientation online today. Please keep an eye on your email where I will send out further information and some of those different other important things, such as your COVID vaccine requirements. I will also send out further information about how to search for textbooks and other important resources will be in your email as well. I hope that you have a wonderful school year, and we're so excited that you've decided to join us at CWU for Running Start.